Welcome back. A public-private partnership came into play this week as the country's COVID-19 vaccination campaign rolled out. The Ministry of Health collaborated with the Rodney Bay Medical Facility to administer vaccines to a particular group of individuals. The National Immunization Manager says the initiative was part of a pilot phase by the Ministry of Health.
We know that the private sector also reaches out to a segment of the population that ordinarily would not visit the wellness centers, would not take the very long lines. They too reach out to a particular set of people in the population. And the private sector has reached out, of course, and we will continue collaborating with them. But we saw the need to have a pilot. Last week, no, it was actually earlier this week. Yes, we had this pilot with Rodney Bay Medical, and that was a very successful one.
From the beginning of the vaccine rollout, vaccines have been only available through public health facilities and places designated by the Ministry of Health. As the national COVID-19 vaccination rollout continues, a critical group of individuals are being inoculated. Caregivers attached to the St. Lucia Social Development Fund are taking the opportunity to protect themselves and the people they serve.
As the Ministry of Health and Wellness continues to roll out Phase 1A and 1B of the national COVID-19 vaccination campaign, attention is being placed on critical groups as they are classified as high risk. These include high-risk first responders, persons 65 years and older, people in elderly homes, and caregivers. Caregivers attached to the St. Lucia Social Development Fund are forming part of that group. Health educator Nadege Smith-Lambert says that caregivers are integral in this current phase of the vaccination rollout.
They may be the patients they care for, closest contacts, and as such may very well be their primary source of risk for COVID-19 infection. As a result, prioritizing vaccination for caregivers will allow patients with certain complex medical conditions, for example, those with significant compromised immune systems, to benefit from vaccine protection, even when the patients can't be vaccinated themselves.
The project officer for the home care program at the SSDF says the caregivers who form part of this particular session are from the Castries Southeast group.
We think it's extremely important that our caregivers are vaccinated for two reasons. Firstly, we are concerned about their health and safety, so we want to ensure that they are well protected against this virus, as well as their families. And secondly, the clients that they deal with typically fall into the high-risk category. So we want that any interactions that they have with their clients are safe. A lot of the people that they attend to have autoimmune diseases, cardiovascular diseases, generally people who are at severe risk. So we want to ensure that we take all measures possible to protect both our caregivers and our clients.
All caregivers interested in getting vaccinated are asked to contact the Ministry of Health and Wellness at 468-5321 or 468-5349. For the Hot 7 News, Nisha Charles reporting.
St. Lucia is receiving support from a regional organization to aid in controlling the spread of dengue and other vector-borne diseases. Fennel Neptune tells us more.
The Ministry of Health recently received a donation of equipment and supplies from the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, to assist the country, given the recent outbreak of dengue fever last year. PAHO Country Program Specialist Reynold Hewitt says his organization remains committed to assisting St. Lucia in strengthening its vector control measures.
These equipment and other accessories will be used for entomological surveillance, and on behalf of the PWR, Dr. Itadis Gabriel, I hand over these items to the Chief Environmental Health Officer, where they will be used for controlling mosquitoes and help to reduce the indices of these mosquitoes in St. Lucia.
Chief Environmental Health Officer Paco Ragnanan says the donation of equipment and supplies is extremely needed to decrease the population of the Aedes aegypti mosquitoes.
These items are indeed much needed, as our stock have been significantly depleted. We've also had dated equipment, some that are non-functional at this time. And so we want to ensure the Pan American Health Organization that these items will be put into very good use for the benefit of the country as a whole. And so we want to thank you again for them and look forward to continued collaboration with the organization in improving and sustaining the health of all St. Lucians alike.
Environmental Health Officer for Vector Control, Charlotte Charles, expressed gratitude to PAHO for the donation and says it will be used to fight the dengue battle in St. Lucia.
It is truly necessary for us to continue our battle against the Aedes aegypti mosquito and the spread of dengue fever across the island. So we'd like to say a big thank you, and we'd also like to encourage our fellow St. Lucians to remember that although we haven't been having so many cases of dengue, that we should still keep still be aware that dengue is endemic to the island, and we may have cases and outbreaks in the future.
The donation from PAHO included posters, water boots, chemical gloves, earmuffs, full-face respirators, handheld foggers, vehicle-mounted fogger, and mosquito repellent, to name a few. Reporting from the Communications Unit of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, I am Fernell Neptune.
Stay with us, the latest weather report is coming up next.